This is peak fiction right here because Absolute Batman just keeps getting better and better. I mean, this entire arc with Bane will dead ass go down as one of the most legendary runs in Batman's history. And I don't care if you think I'm gassing it because the amount of hype and crazy moments we get each issue is insane. I can't think of the last time a comic has had this much motion and momentum. So it's really awesome for the entire comic book industry, if you ask me. And at the time of this video, it has almost been 1 year since the first issue of Absolute Batman released in October, so I hope the story continues to excel from here. Now in today's video, I'm going to discuss mainly what happened in the latest issue number 12. After Bruce escapes from Arkham with the help of his buddy Waylon Jones, who is now Killer Croc, Bruce makes his way back to everyday life in Gotham, only to find out that things are far worse than when he actually left. Because when you think about it, after barely beating the Black Mask gang and narrowly avoiding capture by Mr. Freeze, our Absolute Batman hasn't really had too many feats because unfortunately, he ran into an even worse abomination with Bane. Because after Bane beat pretty much the dog shit out of Batman multiple times at this point, he decides the real way to break the Bat is by breaking the things that matter to him most, not physically. And unfortunately, this means his closest friends had to find out the hard way just how terrifying Bane is. Now, before we get into how bad Bane brutalized Bruce's friends, let's talk about how awesome Bane's backstory is. It's really similar to his original backstory, with him being someone that grew up in a prison in Santa Prisca. But in this, we got to see more of his revolutionary background, how his father started this rebellion, and how he as a kid grew up and had to pretty much fight since day one as a child on the battlefield. And even with all this, his father was an okay leader, but unfortunately, his father lost the battle, and him and his entire army were pretty much thrown into this insane prison in Santa Prisca that pretty much no one would ever want to go to, and you pretty much guaranteed to die there. It was horrible. His own people kind of betrayed him in the end, and Bane just grew up there as a kid, fiercely fighting every single day of his life, literally fighting to live. And we get to see how he is, years later, he grows up and becomes this big, beefy dude and pretty much leads a tactical assault out of the prison to escape. And not only did they escape the prison, but he also led the entire rebellion on his own instead, while his father pretty much sat in the sidelines, and he actually won the battle. In the end, his father congratulated him because he was so proud of his son Bane, and even compared him a lot to a bird, which is what his iconic mask looks like in this Absolute universe, is the bird of freedom for his country. And Bane pretty much accepted this acknowledgement for his father, but told his father that he must suffer for his punishments and his failures. So he killed his own dad for being a terrible leader and appointed himself the leader and ruler of this new country. And that's when Joker comes in with his sweet new deal and his plan to create Bane into this hulking monster, just make him even more powerful than he already is. And after this insane opportunity actually becomes a success, Arkham starts to build, and they're like, okay, we need more test subjects and we need more people like you on these experiments so that way we can have an army. Now, they had more experiments. There were a lot of successes, a lot of failures. Some of those successes they named were like Deathstroke, which I can't wait to see. But these people were hands, but not as quite great as Bane was. And no one was actually able to become as great as Bane. However, the people of Arkham believe that Bruce Wayne has the potential. And Bane agrees, which kind of led to this entire confrontation in the first place, and why they didn't just kill Batman, but instead grabbed him, experiment on him, and let him escape, because this is their test run. They're pretty much seeing he survived all the experiments. Let's see how actually he good is in the battlefield. And this time, we're going to send Bane out for him. And I got to say, it's just pretty damn awesome. So I can't wait to see more of that. But now that we got some of his backstory out of the way, like I said, Batman underwent intense surgery and pretty much torture and experimentation in Arkham. And while Bruce was gone, Bane made his way to Bruce's friend's hideout and showed why he's the best Bane that we have ever seen, because Bruce's friends are all teamed up there waiting for him to return because they know he's Batman and they've been helping him along his journey. However, when Bane shows up and knocks on the door instead of Bruce, all of their jaws drop because they realize, man, we are in some pretty bad water right now. And Bane just goes around and just beats the crap out of everyone, like so badly. And what's even crazier than all this is the fact that you made it this far in the video and you haven't liked or subscribed yet. Now, what's up with that? Because Batman would actually be disappointed in you, but it's cool. I get it. But now that I reminded you, feel free to make that happen, or else you might end up like Oswald. Because unfortunately, Penguin got turned into a meatball. I mean, Bane literally broke every bone in his body, and the doctor said that it made him 2 feet shorter than he normally was, and made his body mass just more wide. You know how insane that is? To be this tall, skinny guy, and Bane literally crushes you to the point that you're alive. He does it so tactically and surgically that you're alive, but you're now shorter and wider than ever before. He broke every bone in your body, and you felt all the pain. And Penguin is just laying in a hospital bed, in tears, crying. But even though he's in so much pain, he's filled with so much rage. You can see it in his eyes that he's going to become a great problem for Gotham, but especially Bruce. Because let's talk about it. Bane literally turns Batman's rogues gallery into what we know them of, but in this absolute universe. And it's kind of crazy because all these guys were not only friends of Bruce, but they know his identity. Like, Batman is already kind of going through it since he's not the billionaire that we know of in his universe. And not only that, the absolute universe is just super brutal. So you got to add on the fact he's pretty much broke. The world is way worse than it normally is. And all his villains know who he is. And not only that, his mom is alive, which means he's vulnerable. He has a family member. He lost his father. He neglects his mother, but he cares for her. And she's an open target to all of his enemies because his identity is basically known by every street thug in Gotham. So it's really crazy when you see and think of it this way, like, man, what is Bruce going to do? Because the odds are not in his favor at all. It's like Darkseid hated him the most in this absolute universe. Darkseid's like, you know what? I'm going to create this whole new universe. And Batman, you're going to go through the worst. Because I remember when you shot me with that bullet in Final Crisis. Don't think it's over. But that's pretty much how it all happens. Not only did Penguin get turned into a meatball, but he literally broke Harvey's head in half and burned half of his body. You know how crazy it is? To be alive and have somebody snap your head pretty much in half into 2 lumps, almost like an apple. And then he burns one entire side of your body to give you like that Two-Face persona that we know of. He's literally half and half. Because not only did this break him mentally, I mean, literally his head was crushed, but also now he's physically scarred. And you can tell Harvey has a lot of anger and frustration toward Bruce because he actually has a conversation with him when Bruce arrives. And he can see the anger in Harvey's eyes and how much he wants to get back and get his revenge. While Enigma was actually blinded. He had his head crushed, of course, just like the rest of them. But he was the only one to make his way out of the hospital and has already pretty much undergone his Riddler persona because when Bruce meets up with him, he's talking in crazy riddles, more so than usual. And not only that, he's blind, but there's so many machines and contraptions around him, like he's rebuilding himself a new body. And he's doing things that just is insane to look at. Like, if you look at him, you're like, dude, you're going to be a supervillain. I can tell already. And I'm sure Bruce is thinking like, man, I really let my friends down. I can't believe that I went out. Not only did I go out to Arkham on my own, unadvised by my friends who all told me you should not do this, but I forced them to help me do it. And I got captured and tortured and experimented on for months, got my butt kicked, came back, and all my friends are pretty much in shells of them former selves. Like, this is really crazy because Absolute Batman is kind of broken down to the worst point he's ever been. And overall, Bruce realizes how he has destroyed the lives of everyone he cares for. Like, he became Batman to honor his father's legacy, but also to let out a little bit of that anger and that dark side that he's always had built up inside of himself. But he runs around as Batman, telling himself that he's doing things for the greater good, which as a hero, I truly believe he is. But this absolute universe is just so dark and corrupt. It's like nothing that he's done has actually had any lasting effect. It's even worse than the Gotham we know. Like, this Gotham just gets worse and worse to the point Batman has done all of this kind of for nothing for now. Like, right now, yes, he got rid of the Black Mask gang, and that's a huge accomplishment. But it just got worse and worse. I mean, look at Absolute Freeze. That guy is like a monster. Literally, he's a monster to look at. He's insane. And Batman didn't even beat him. He was captured, almost killed in experiment on the first time, but narrowly made his way out and escaped and just said, yeah, I'm not going back there again. And Mr. Freeze is still out there doing who knows what with his experimentations. And not only that, as soon as that gets over with, he runs into Bane. And Bane beats the dog crap out of him. Him and Alfred are planning their comeback because they know Bane is coming again and they have to be prepared. And let's say he does beat Bane this next time. Okay, cool. But have you seen Absolute Joker? Absolute Joker is arguably probably the brains behind this entire operation. And if these other villains are already this powerful and insane, can you imagine how insane and crazy strong the Clown Prince of Crime is going to actually be. I mean, they said that this Joker is more serious. The reason they call him Joker is because he never laughs, and it's supposed to be a pun on the fact that he's always so serious. So imagine this guy turning into this monster that they showed in the release photo. Like, I can't even imagine how crazy that's going to be, because he's, of course, going to be more powerful and more insane than Bane. He just has to be. He's the Joker, the most iconic villain of all time. And Batman is barely hanging on by a thread right now. And this guy is going to show up. Not to mention, we're also, of course, getting Scarecrow, which we haven't even seen what he looks like yet. But I can just imagine how gnarly this entire rogues gallery is going to actually look. Of course, things are super dim right now. Bruce has met up, of course, with Alfred, and they're planning like what they're going to do. And Alfred is telling him, I'm not going to lie, man, I think it's over with. Like, we're cooked. We might as well keep fighting, because no matter what, we're too far in this. They're not going to just let us go. At this point, I think we're both going to die. So we might as well die fighting and standing on our own 2 feet. And that's when their new base alarm goes off. And they're thinking like, oh man, Bane's already here. Like, we don't even have time to strategize. We got to be on go mode. You see the two of them grab their weapons, grab their gear, and get ready to fight, only for somebody else to show up. Someone we were not expecting. Someone that actually, I believe, is going to change the tide of this whole battle. And Selina Kyle, Bruce's ex-girlfriend, shows up ready to help Bruce face off against Bane for possibly the last time. And this is where the issue ends. And honestly, the entire thing is just such on a high note, and ended perfectly for me. Bringing Selina in at this point now is awesome. Batman, Bruce, he's at the lowest he could possibly be right now, in my opinion. And Selina's going to come in and help give us that edge in battle. Because also, I don't think Bane knows about her existence. Now, he's super smart and tactical. So, of course, he might know about her. I mean, guy seems to have done his homework. Do we know anything about Catwoman? She's super unpredictable. So this version of Catwoman has to be insane as well. And we're finally going to get our kind of first look at her. She was shown in flashbacks before, but now we're actually seeing her in the current timeline, her current Catwoman persona. And I'm super excited to see what that's all going to lead to. Because, man, Absolute Batman is perfect. It's way better than I ever thought it would be. And each issue makes me anticipate more. Really, the entire Absolute comic line has been great. But the way Batman and his entire rogues gallery has been fleshed out so far is super awesome. And I can't wait to see more of Bane. This also makes me curious on how dangerous Scarecrow and especially Joker will be, like I mentioned, in this new universe. But only time will tell. So go ahead, comment down below. Are you loving Absolute Batman? And also, what characters are you hoping to see introduced in the story going forward? Because fingers crossed, I hope Dick Grayson makes his return again soon. But as always, it's Keith here, giving you my thoughts on everything there is to know about comics. And thanks for watching.